of Dark Knights here. How are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you? Excited to cast my old team today?
Going to be exciting to see them in action in this consolation finals, which does have some value for the future of these two teams as well. The winner of this matchup will be moving on to our grand finals in August, sorry, the final tournament that we have for the bigger prize pool, of course. The loser will have to try again in the second qualifier or those LCQs that are coming up in the middle of July as well. So, looking at both of these teams and seeing their paths here, Nightmare, what are you making of how these teams have sort of panned out?
Honestly, both teams are looking very good. CC yesterday took a map off of Northwood, the Kings of Collegiate, so very interesting to see how it pans out. That map was picked actually by CC in this series, being Fracture, so we'll see how they do, if it's just a great map for them, or if they're just great players and they win the series overall.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about as well to see how these two teams match up. Because, of course, yesterday, both of them in their semifinal matchups did go to three maps. And UCF and Knights Black were going in as sort of favorites in their matchup against CSUF Orange. And CSUF, they came out with a little bit more that, a lot of teams in this tournament haven't been expecting so far. What's your take on how that series went? I'm not sure if you caught those games or anything, but CSUF has definitely come out with a lot more than people were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, people always doubt the West, but I know first-handedly, if you doubt the West going into a game, you're gonna get disappointed. Their play style is very different. It's honestly pretty hard to play against, pretty hard to call against. So I think that's what happened against UCF. They didn't expect to have such a tough matchup against them, and honestly, they were outskilled some rounds, and they took it home.
Yeah, and of course, on the flip side of everything, there, Columbia College surprised a lot of people by coming through on map one against Northwood on Fracture and doing a very good job at sort of shutting down the reigning CVL champions there. Columbia, they might be feeling a little bit better about this series now, knowing how well they did against Northwood. What's sort of take on that series as well? That was on our mainstream yesterday.
Yeah, Columbia doing very well. I know they have a lot of new players coming in. They're maybe trialing people for the new semester, seeing how things go. But honestly, it feels like they have good chemistry together. They have really good calling, it seemed, against Northwood. A lot of their players were skillful in being able to go down in the 1v1s and the straight raw mechanics of the game. So honestly, it was a very surprising showing, but I'm very interested to see how they do today against UCF.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well just because of the fact that one of these teams, is sort of expected to be here in Colombia going up against one of the stronger teams. The other team wasn't expected to be here. They were going to be the expected finals matchup as well. So I am interested to see how these two teams end up working everything out. I'm also interested to see how things will develop across not only this series, but for the loser of this series as well in the next qualifier, if they come in with a little bit more energy in those regards as well. So it's going to be a little bit of, there's a lot at stake here. Of course, you don't want to have to play in the other two qualifiers. You just want to qualify for those finals at the end of the summer. But nonetheless, it's been incredible to see this action come through. And we couldn't do it without huntapp.gg. Just giving them a little shout out from us. Thank you so much for sponsoring the tournament, providing the tournament platform. We're doing pretty good stuff. Nonetheless, believe we should be getting into game shortly. Just sort of waiting on some of these other teams to get all set up here. Guess we can just pull it back a little bit here. Did you watch VCT finals last night?
I did. Very unfortunate. We thought we were gonna get a little comeback story, but script was too strong. It was a fake comeback. It's kind of sad that EMEA is getting another slot in champions, but honestly, EG did very well. I want to see how they do when they come back to LA and play in champions.
Yeah, it's going to be especially interesting to see what those last couple EU teams are as well. I mean, I might have been cheering for Fnatic, but that's just my selfish take on things because I've liked them since their their heyday of League, and then now it's their Valorant team has just been sort of picking it up. So I don't have to focus on how mediocre their league team has been, but just something to focus on as well. It's always good to check in with the pro scene as well because we get to see new strategies come out, and of course, even though we are playing on a different patch, there is a couple of changes here. You do get some sort of meta reads coming through from pro. Do you think that these teams are going to adapt to that and potentially pull out some different agents on Ascent, or are we just going to see the standard?
I believe Ascent is going to be pretty cookie cutter with the standard KO Sova Jet comp, but I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise us, pull out the Sage with the new bullet count nerf. Sage is very strong now on Ascent, I believe, with the triple wall on Cat. It's super strong and very hard to default against. I don't know if they're that ahead of meta. Once again, these are teams that are maybe have little to no practice, so I don't know if it's something that they've drilled or maybe they are just plugging it out. We'll see how it goes.
And I believe we should be getting into game shortly here. I'm especially excited to see how the teams adapt and if there are going to be any sort of comp changes here. I believe we did see a Sage yesterday coming through from Northwood as well. So, those bullet count nerfs, definitely something to keep in mind overall. But nonetheless, I'm trying to get them to get into game right now. They should be going soon. But nonetheless, we'll see how everything goes. Yep. And it seems like as if we are going in to agent select here. Onto Ascent we go. Of course, for all three of these maps, it will be Columbia College starting on the defense. Do you think that influences how these teams are going to sort of draft their agents?
Honestly, on Ascent, they might start to go for double Sentinel if they really want to, but honestly, it'll just be up to the IGL battle now, seeing defense versus attack. Maybe the defender's side on CC will be quicker to adapt versus the attacking. Ooh, Viper being selected. Oh, Don might just be trolling us on UCF, but it's all good.
Yeah, a couple of hovers, of course. Always fun to see those come through. As casters, we love to see like the Yoru hovers for no reason. There you go, Don. That literally just to troll us because we know you're never gonna pick Yoru. That agent is kind of crap unless you're Paper X. At least that's my take on it. Granted, I'm gold, so maybe I don't know everything there is to know about Yoru, but nonetheless, it's always fun to see some of the hovers come through because it just sort of gives us a little bit of something to talk about here. Because as expected now, we're just getting the standard Ascent comp that has been in the meta for a year.
Yeah, personally, I think Yoru's too overpowered, and we just gentleman's agreement to not play him. But that's just my take personally. But yeah, we are seeing the standard comp. We'll see if it's just straight up going to be an IGL battle. Both teams know what each comp does. They know the strengths, the weaknesses. They know the possible strats that are happening. So we'll see how the standard chessboard goes for both these teams.
Yeah, and of course, because this is a best of three, sometimes you just got to get off on the right foot here. Potentially going on this attack for UCF could potentially just give them a little bit of an edge moving forward, push them over the line, get that sort of aggression that we like to see on the attack. It's always interesting to see how teams sort of play each side, and especially because it's the summer, teams may be trialing different players. They may be sort of adjusting things as necessary. You never know. Maybe they do establish themselves as a potential offensive sided team, defensive sided team. Do you believe in those, by the way? Do you like believe that teams can be more attack sided or defense sided?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the identity of the IGL, and even coach to an extent. I know most collegiate teams don't really have a good coach, but yeah, I think depending on how they set up and how they practice, they could definitely be better on one side.
But opening up here on to map number 1, already you can see Predsu getting a little bit more aggressive up through mid. The rest of UCF is going to be turning tail and going towards this A site. Very quick pushes coming down, flashing through, smoking through as the jet gets on the site, and it looks as if UCF getting the site without too much resistance.
Yeah, looks like UCF went down for the standard 1-0-4 setup. Fast retake coming in from CC. Let's get one, but Sniper gets 3. Oh wow! Left down a 4v1. Let's see if Germsy can clutch it out.
Very interesting round there. Germsy getting 2 on the back end of it, but Sniper really showing up, finding 3 kills for themselves there. Extremely exciting stuff coming through from this UCF squad, where they just, went W Key Gaming, basically ran right onto site, and it worked out in their favor.
Yeah, UCF, they're having Scotty have their first debut IGL tournament this tournament, so we'll see some of the strats that come through from the old team, from their old IGL, which is me. But it's interesting to see some of the comps come out and some of the strats come out.
That's what makes this interesting as well. The fact that you played with a lot of these players, and this is members of the team that you're very familiar with. You can give some more insight into how they may be looking to play this out. But of course, a little bit of a slower round this time, as once again UCF just slowly marching over toward the A site.
Yeah, if personally, if I'm UCF, I might be a little worried just by that first round look. Ooh, never mind. Power coming in instantly into the A bomb site. Gets 2 on the entry. 5v3 into the post plant. We'll see if Columbia College will try to quick retake again like last round. It's very scary.
Yeah, Germsy was looking for some prey there. Unfortunately, unable to land the shot. And now Sight sort of just given over to the side of UCF. Lots of damage being taken on the opposite side. Power now with 3 on the board. Predsu have to try and contest this. Nice little lineup from Rudy. Gonna shut that one down. Power with the 4K to close things out. UCF have gotten off to a hot start here. Looking to really shut down Columbia College and their momentum carrying over today.
That was a very good round, seeing as Power now has one off of the Blade Storm. We'll see if he opts to use that for the economic value, or if they're going to go for some sort of aggressive play for next round. They do have, I believe, 3 rifles on the board, so they're sitting good for a default right now, but they might be going into a 1-3-1 here, it seems like.
And swapping around some of the sidearms just because they can. Power already sort of leading the charge 5-1-1. Germany's going to try and answer in kind, but for the time being, you can see just very default gameplay coming through from UCF. They want to play this game as clean as possible and really prevent Columbia from getting off the ground. Thus far, working out quite well. 2 members up through mid. They slowly inch their way forward, just looking for any sort of picks that they can.
Yeah, very standard default out of both teams. I'm actually looking over towards Predsu on the A main sight line. Seems like he has spotted Don. Ooh, great pick out of Hutao and B bomb site, picking out Pow on the lurk.
Carnage able to reply in kind, possibly expecting that mid aggression, but Scotty still here, just trying to hold down some space for themselves. Spike still towards the A site. Couple of members still lurking over there. Seems as if they want to execute towards this end of the map. Slowly see those movements coming through from Columbia as they sort of read this out. The dart comes down, and now the jig is a little bit up here.
30 seconds left.
Scotty gets one on the lurk. He hears the other person on the B bomb site. They know there's maximum 2 on the A bomb site. Rudy gets one on the entry. The 3v1 site with Truth. Got the 1v3.
Spike down A.
Gets 2.
Just down to Rudy here on site, taking a little bit of damage. Truth gonna peek once again. 5 HP, still gonna stay alive. Not a whole lot of time to make this happen. Scotty's gotta try and find the kills at this point. No time to plant the spike. Seems as if they may just run out of time here. Just gonna back off Scotty. 46 HP, doesn't really want to be peeking too heavily into some of these members. It's just gonna be a round going the opposite way for Columbia.
Honestly, that was a very great default from both teams. A lot of info was gathered from both sides. Predsu getting up the A main sight line. He knows that they don't really take control towards A main. We'll see if UCF tries to punish that now, or if they opt to go into the weaker mid as they saw last round.
Now, money coming through. The buy coming down from Columbia. A little bit weaker. See the Marshall on Predsu. Carnage and Calvin sitting on sheriffs apiece, but I've had this I've had a talk with a lot of casters about this. Collegiate sheriffs, sometimes they hit different. And I don't know if it's just like the hours spent in DM just going sheriff only or what it is, but sometimes they seem like they do double damage.
Yeah, I definitely see some insane shots coming out of collegiate sheriffs. I don't know if it's maybe it is the DM you're talking about. Maybe they're just used to being Deagle Demons in the ranked gameplay. We'll see how it's gonna pan out for this round for CC. Mid control taken by UCF. Ooh, Truth gets 1 with the only rifle that they have.
Look at this. They're just continuing to push through. Lots of util getting burned. That flash a little bit short, so not going to really push them back in any way. Truth going to try and peek out again. Goes through the smoke, but Spike is already down on site. Rudy expecting that. Shuts him down once again. It is a 4v4 on A site once again, and Columbia, they're trying to find an angle in, but look at this lurk coming through from Rudy, just trying to get behind enemy lines.
It's a very different approach from Columbia. They know that the lurk is coming through, so they can't fast retake as they normally do. We'll see if they use their util. Jonesy's getting the dart lined up. No pings coming through. They are going to fast go through the door. Calvin gets 1 on the entry. Predsu gets another one on the hell. It's now left in a 2v2, but Rudy and Scotty clean up. Wow.
Well played retake there. The lurk that we thought Colombia was expecting, maybe a little bit more unexpected as Rudy able to land those shots. It's a third round going back the other way for the side of UCF. And now this buy is getting a little all over the place for both of these teams actually now. We're just going to be going for the knives, I believe. It is going to be a full buy coming back from Colombia. They are able to afford it, even with some of those light shields. Ends up being a full buy round, we can say. Simply Power going to be using those knives instead.
Yeah, this is going to be a very pivotal round, seeing as we're very close to ult orbs, and any team that loses this round will have worse econ the next round, possibly even having to go into an eco buy. UCF opting to do the anti-eco default for the 4th round. See if they're just going to continue to get mid control, or if they're going to change it up and try to get some A control. Nice spots Predsu. Predsu's been contesting that A main angle a lot. See if he's going to re-peek into 4 people. Should be unlucky.
Still just sort of waiting. Oh, he's going to peek into it, as you said. Scotty shuts it down immediately. Null command is online. Going in, though. Power gets shut down by Truth. Truth is holding the line. Calvin finds a couple on the way back. Not going to be able to reply in kind, but Truth is shutting this down. Colombia have held this site down to a T, and now it is all down to Rudy once again on this lurk. This time around, though, they might be expecting it on the opposite side.
Yeah, it was honestly a very good hold by Truth and Calvin. Truth actually, I believe he spammed Pow as he did the updraft through the smoke in terms he finishes the round off.
Keeping Colombia in decent economical position here. Keeping, I believe, 3 rifles over into this next round. Now, UCF going to be the one who's a little bit worse for wear in terms of that economy. But those ultimates that you mentioned, because of that round win that Colombia are able to pick up 3 of them on the board, answered by none quite yet on the side of UCF. They might be playing for an orb or 2 here to try and turn that around, but still, it's a good answer from Colombia, and now they're in better position going into this next one.
I think UCF has a really good read of the game right now. They understand how the Columbia College is playing their defense. Oh, so they go towards the B main aggression. Actually bait out the dart over from Germsy. This might be a good position for them to move around, get other control on the map. They're just gonna try to cut noise somewhat.
Yeah, still just sort of spamming it out. Here comes the lockdown as well. They basically call their shot, saying we want to go towards this B site. Rudy just going to be clearing out the common angles behind that wall. And now everyone is sequestered back into CT. Be spamming them down with mollies. Site is completely clear for the side of UCF to get that spike down. But now how's the retake coming through from Colombia?
Going into a 5v5 retake. Truth popping his no command already. Let's see how this goes.
The spam down isn't going to be enough. Calvin and Carnage, they're just linking up for a couple kills apiece, and now it is all down to Sniper, who will not be able to answer. 3 on the board for Carnage as Columbia College. They find their footing after first couple of rounds, which didn't quite go their way. Now have tied this one all up, and UCF forced back onto an eco round for the next.
Yeah, that was certainly a statement coming out of Columbia College. You can use all your ults if you want to get onto the bomb site, but they will win those 5v5 retakes. They went with a quick retake with the K ult.
Well played now, as they should have this round in the bag. Really, the only thing going against them is those collegiate sheriffs that we were talking about earlier. Will it come to fruition is the main question, but nonetheless, multiple opportunities here for Colombia to really start to build a momentum, build an economic advantage here, and try and shut down this half.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that. See if they UCF tries to go for some ult orbs, try to get back some ult economy and catch up against Columbia College. Opting to go for a cat split here. Columbia College is ready for this, but not ready for the collegiate sheriffs. Let's see how this goes.
Oh my goodness, never mind.
Down A.
Predsu is so ready for that, finds 3 of them. It is all down to Dawn. Predsu with 4 HP. Dawn with a nicer amount of HP there, but will be just forced back a little bit. Just has to try and find any frags that they can. That spike is in Garden without any sort of help. Germsy shutting down that round. Incredible stuff coming through with that first pick from Sniper. On the flip side, just holding the line as Predsu to secure a round up once again for Columbia College.
Honestly, such a hard angle to clear against if you're coming through from Cat against Predsu. You have so many angles to clear. all you could see is basically his mid-torso. Picked them off one by one, got 3. Very good job of Pretsu, like shutting down that eco. We'll see now. Both teams are starting to aggress towards mid. See if they go for a flash and dash setup towards tiles.
Maybe the case. Knowing where Sniper is as well as Pretsu. Just pinching up so aggressively, but Scotty may be aware of this situation. Sniper just going to turn around that corner. Pick one up for themselves. Truth. Gonna get sprayed down through the smoke as well. Rudy, nice shot. They'll secure that one. Scotty finds another one. Now 5v2 for UCF Knights Black. Continuing to just find wins. When after a couple from the side of Columbia, they're able to fight back. They're able to keep this competitive. While Carnage is able to pick one up for themselves, it's still an odd man advantage. Carnage gonna be able to find another one. Rudy will trade it out. It's all down to Germsy to secure this one up. But considering how Germsy has played in this tournament, wouldn't put it out of reach. Okay, now it's out of reach.
Very nice try out of Germsy. He did have full utility. I see a world where he actually gets one, goes into the 1v2 situation. He has full shocks and ult there, but unfortunately he missed the one tap on Pow and just got cleaned up for it.
And Caster Curse at its finest there, saying, yeah, you know, Germsy could probably clutch this. Immediately gets one tap. Just welcome to the world of casting. It happens all the time. You can never expect anything for free. But now, full buys on both sides here. The operator now picked up by Pretsu. Going to be trying to hold some of those long angles here. Economy now sort of getting into an interesting state where both teams could potentially buy up next round, so it's not in dire straits for either team, but it could just mean that we're trading rounds back and forth. Everyone's going to be looking at some decent buys for the rest of this half unless there's a little bit of a streak rattled off.
Pretsu getting pinged by the KO knife. I don't think UCF completely knows he's towards market. Oh, there we go. They spoke mid 2 off. We'll see if Scotty's going to just try to find the alarm bot or if he's going to try to flash through and make some presence towards market. Very
just
slow
sort of
coming out of Columbia.
Yeah, they're playing slow. They're playing patient. They don't want to force the agenda too hard. But with how many members are just in this mid area, just looking at this map, of course we can see it, they can't. Just everyone's sort of staring at each other, waiting for someone to make that first move. With half the round already over, no one's made any sort of motions towards the site.
Yeah, Columbia College does have the Killjoy ultimate, so they are...
Timing! Power gonna shut that one down.
They have the KJ ultimate for retake A, so I think they're gonna slide the
30
rotations over
seconds
to
left.
B, but I think UCF's still gonna opt to go towards the B. So Pretsu does catch Rudy on the lurk. Do they think it's a fake, or do they think he's setting up for the hit? Let's see.
Yeah, but look at this ultimate from Dawn going in to Boathouse is fully known as to the position, but still wins out that fight against Germsy and Pretsu.
10 seconds
Finds
left.
both of them. Heroics coming through from Dawn at the 11th hour. Will end up at least
Spike
securing the
planted.
site in the bomb plant. Carnage going to be able to return one back in kind, but with 10 HP, you're either using the lockdown to try and find this round win, but even then it can be so challenging in this 2v2, especially when you don't have a lot of health. Never mind, just going to pop that lockdown. And now 12 seconds to figure out how they want to maneuver this UCF. They're just going to pop that Sova ultimate to shut it down. Will the timing be in their favor? Carnage has moved up so far, has so much space here. Truth going to be trying to find an angle as well, but time is ticking. Carnage going to have to find one, not going to be able to find it, and Truth in the 1v2 gets shut down. Dawn, hero play to Boathouse, finds 4. It's 5 on the board for the side of UCF.
Great round coming out of Don from that round. He got the 2 on the entry with the Ultimate ult, which it's very difficult to do. I've never seen that happen before. Gets 2 on the ultimate, and then he also wins the 2v2, just holding his teammate the whole time. Honestly, very well played out of ECF. Very good heroic play out of Don. Very good team play overall. We'll see how Columbia try to adapt here. Pretsu having knives. Is going to try to take some A main control. They are going for the Squirtle squad play. He goes for the knives pop, holding the Omen paranoia.
Lots of members over towards B here. Looking as if they just want to hit it with everything that they've got. Incredibly aggressive dashes forward. Carnage going to have to try and hold down the line. Is traded out though. Scotty finds the answer on to Carnage. 4v4 once again on site. Under's Fury didn't get a whole lot of value there. Spike already going to be put down. Pretsu though with these knives. That's the member to watch. Oh, never mind.
And just like that, they turn it into essentially a 4v3 in the retake. see if Rudy gets spotted out of the Ooh, great flash coming out of Scotty. Rudy gets one off of it. Now Columbia has to focus their attention towards B main. Truth cleans up B main, but they know Scotty's on 2v3 situation. See if Don will do it again for his team.
One enemy remaining.
Mind it comes down to Baniper and the 1v1 and Pretsu right clicks.
We'll have enough time as well to defuse that spike. Well played coming through from Columbia on that retake. Just sort of had to wait out Scotty's ultimate as long as possible. Pretsu able to come up huge with that clutch. And now tied up at 5s once again. Seems as if we're looking towards the typical ascent where you go 6-6 at the half or potentially a 7-5, keeping it really even going through here. Both of these teams definitely don't want to have to compete in some of those other qualifiers. They want to just get their spot. They want to lock it in. They want to see you later.
Adam, I've never seen a game go back and forth like this. Not even just round for round, but kill for kill, going down from 5v5s into 4v4s into 3v3s. Honestly, a really good watch. We'll see if UCF will speed it up on their attack here, going for A main play. You know, Pretsu's not taking the A main control. Rudy gets
ultimates available.
Killjoy lockdown. Yeah.
Don's gonna have that from the shadows once again. Last time was able to find immaculate value out of that. Powell once again, one off of those knives, but lockdown gonna be the single one invested for now. They try and clear out sight, but once again, this lockdown doesn't quite cover off heaven. There's still angles to be held. Have to be ready for whatever Pretsu is cooking up here. On the way in, though, will not find anything as Pretsu now peeking out, able to answer with one. Now 4v4 retake coming through from Columbia. Make that a 4v3 retake for them now.
Pretsu tried to make the hero play again on the A bomb site. Couldn't make, just got his. Cannot get more. See now, 4v2 situation. We'll see if Columbia College opts to go for the save. Looks like Calvin's just gonna spam, see if he can get any damage onto Beniper sitting in hell.
Now Carnage is sort of peeking out on their own. Not gonna be able to adjust in time. Crosshair a little bit too low for the member on Jenny. 6th round picked up for UCF, and now
last round in the half.
At the economy, it's okay coming through from Columbia. It's going to be mostly some stingers. Might get another rifle coming through from Carnage, but not going to be the best of buys here as UCF look to try and close out a little bit of an advantage that they so desire here.
Now we'll see if the trend of this game continues going back and forth with a 6-6 half, or if UCF will come out on top this half. Pawa has knives, the Blade Storm. Seems like Columbia might be going for a quick mid play. Oh, they just set up for a crossfire setup. Cat.
The slow walk forward now. Coming through from both of these teams. They really want to secure this final round in the half. Of course, for the side of Columbia, with the weaker weaponry, they have to be very careful about which angles they're holding. Truth, going for a little pop flash. Does have to back out. Sheriff not quite going to be able to contest against 4 members on the opposite side, but Powa just pushing that W key, going forward aggressively. Scotty taking a whole bunch of damage, will be able to trade it out on the Calvin, but 29 HP means that they have to be very careful with their life.
5v4 situation. Germsy positioned. Oh, I don't know if you saw the Sova's bow there. All he has is a stinger. Pinged out.
Scotty pulling this close angle. Truth with only a stinger in kind. But then Ultimate at least have an incredible fire rate on that. He's gonna try and shut things down. Rudy, Powa, everyone's getting on the board to shut it down. That's a 7th round on the board for UCF Knights as they take the advantage going into the half. Now with the side swapping here, Columbia gonna have to get some leg work in here. Of course, we're one pistol and one anti-eco away from just tying this game up once again.
Yeah, Columbia College seemed like they have a lot of good chemistry and synchronization going into those retakes. Unfortunately, that last round, all they had was stingers across the board, but the other retakes they've had, they've been playing very well together. We'll see how that translates onto the attack side half. Seems like they are opting to go for the same default that UCF went for on their pistol round. Might just be UCF. UCF is actually taking A main control. See if they go for a fast player, if they're going to walk up, do some sort of contact flash play.
Like a little bit of a gamble here. 3 members holding A main so aggressively. And this one way makes it really difficult for Pretsu to get in there, find the angle before getting peeked out. You can see how cautious they want to be playing here. Scotty gonna go for that quick little pop flash and a nice head tap to shut down Pretsu in the corner. It's just all going the way of UCF right now. 3 kills picked up on the way in. Carnage, though, on this late lurk, might be able to find something. That spike still down in A main. Carnage will be able to answer with 1 onto Scotty, but now position spotted out. All of these members just going to rotate over to the A site. Once again, a 2v4.
Very interesting lurking out of Carnage. Unfortunately, he just got a bit timinged when he came through Cat there. Very interesting, though. The UCF was not in position at all to be prepared for that. We'll see if both teams will opt to go for the same sort of push-pull setups.
Yeah, I want to see if Columbia can sort of rein this game back in a little bit here on their own offensive side, because we saw that on the defense, on the opposite side, Columbia were able to find rounds in their favor. They were able to find the victories that they needed when it mattered. And you just have to make sure that when your time is dwindling here, you know, 5 rounds you can give up before game's basically over here. It is after 5 rounds. That's how math works. Power getting a first pick onto Pretsu is a good start to get that off the ground.
A very good start. Carnage already down to 1 shot from the Sheriff. Almost got him in Pao's crosshairs before Jermsy saved the president there. I'm into a cat split. I don't know if Scotty's ready for this. He does know that somebody's in tree. He goes for the flash.
Incredibly quick push from Jermsy. Will get traded out by Scotty once again. He's holding this angle, able to find a second. The right click's not going to do enough damage as Truth doesn't take a tick of damage. Able to answer that one back, but 2v3, and look at where Rudy is once again lurking behind. Dawn, though, be taken down. Sniper trying to shut this one down. That Guardian just does enough damage to Truth. Rudy unnecessary on that flank, but it's a good chance there. Just pinching in, crunching down onto the side of Columbia. There's now 9 rounds on the board for them. Just trying to secure this one up, lock it down, get onto that next map.
I'm very interested to see if Columbia is going to change any sort of strategy on their attack. Even on the defense side, they were very cautious in the way that they were contacting plays. I don't know if they're not very loud or explosive at all, but UCF opting to go for some of those loud plays, go for some of those explosive plays through the extremities. We'll see if they go for that now towards mid.
Alvin already striking, as is Carnage. Dawn with the classic. Able to answer one back. Free gun, by the way. Still a 4v3 situation for Columbia. This is the first time they've had a numbers advantage in at least 3 or 4 rounds. Just have to see how they play it from ahead. Scotty going to be handed over that Guardian now. Dawn given the Sheriff. 1-tap weapons. They could come through in kind, but Calvin answers with a 2 of their own. Now Rudy, last one left alive, has the setup on the wrong site. The Sentinel's worst nightmare, can't do anything with their util now, just has to rely on that aim. And 4 members that you got to clear out.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if he's going to opt to go for the save or try to push the players out. Truth, just looking towards tiles. This could be late cat.
Yeah, a little bit of chip damage at least. On to the KO on the opposite side. Rudy just trying to do a little bit of damage. You know, that's an 1,000 credit advantage that you just got for yourself there. Truth's probably going to have to rebuy up those shields, but Pretsu is holding this down. Gets thinked as well, actually. Rudy making a little bit costly on the shield department, but will not be able to convert the round. 6 rounds for Columbia College as they hold 4 rifles going into the next round. That's a very good buy round for themselves.
Honestly, I was very happy with the way that round played out. I'm getting to see a little bit more of Columbia College's IGLing style. They did play a little more cautious against that anti-eco. They knew that they were going to go towards... They had the read that they were going to go for some sort of mid-play. We'll see now if they're going to opt to go for something explosive or if they're going to keep their contact style going.
Always just perched up here with this operator. Dark immediately broken. Shot not quite going to land. That's something you do have to keep in mind if you're the side of Columbia. That operator, very difficult to push into. Look at how far they're pushing up here. Oh my goodness, Scotty got all the way up cat, but Jermsy read it out just a little bit too well, and now numbers advantage for Columbia once again. Last time they were able to convert on this, but this is still lots of time in the round to work with.
We'll see if Power evens up now, as Carnage is contacting up towards B, but he's waiting for his team. It seems like there's going to be a 5v4 hit. Most 3 of the UCF players are towards the B bomb site.
Power holding it down. If only they knew how many members were on that opposite side. Is pinged out by that dart at the very least. Truth though, answers on to Sniper. Once again, Columbia sort of taking this by storm, but Dawn, if Dawn has anything to say about it, finds 2. Carnage will be able to trade it out. Now 3v2. Power has that operator, not amazing at retaking with that gun, of course. We'll see what they can do. They might be able to find a pick, and even still, might just be able to make it happen.
Power has the read. Maybe they got some sort of information that Carnage is stuck towards B main. The other 2 players are towards back site, though. Rudy's alarm bot. It will spot out Carnage. Let's see if they double swing him.
Ooh. They do, but still, Carnage able to find one in return. Power forced to save that operator. 2 members are going to be holding the line for the side of Columbia. They find a 2nd round in a row. Looking over at this economy, though, it's literally going to be the op and a whole bunch of sheriffs next round. Not going to be the best of situations for the side of UCF, as Columbia, they're starting to clap back a little bit more.
Honestly, a good look from Germsy, catching Scotty on the lurk through, I believe, Cat towards top mid. If I'm Columbia College, I'm thinking, are they disrespecting us with this sort of lurk, or do they just think we're unaware? And honestly, it's very good like IGL battle happening between the 2 teams. Very good retakes happening, good site hits. See now. Seems like Columbia is gonna go for something fast and explosive though. See how this pans out.
Of course, they're just gonna try and push through here, knowing they've got that weapon advantage against the side of UCF. Dawn trying to hold it down with the Stinger, not quite going to be enough. Predzu taking a boatload of damage on the way in, 24 HP. Now Rudy with this. Bucky going to be able to strike with 1 at the very least. Sniper able to land a shock dart as well, making it a little bit costly and making this round a little bit more interesting. But even still, even against the with your weak buy or strong buy, doesn't matter. Pushing and retaking with an operator, still quite the challenge for Power. Just going to try and find that 1-shot, 1-kill. Make it happen as much as you can. Even still, Scotty with that sheriff needs to try and find at least 1 here. At least spots out Calvin. Ooh.
Last player standing.
Drew's covering ground right now. Really just holding his teams back. 1v2 situation for Power. It seems like he is going to go for the play. Opt to save this operator again. He knows somebody is stuck towards site and one is towards A main. It's just whether or not if he's going to take Calvin down with him. He's going to try to save the operator. Might actually live here.
Yeah, we'll be able to get out. Calvin's actually going to be the one to fall instead. Truth has an idea of where Power might be, but 3 rounds in a row now going in favor of Columbia. Full buy's coming back the opposite way, though. There's a goose egg that they're starting to sit on here. It's the funds that Columbia are able to sit on is starting to build up substantially. Granted, Predzu 1 away from those knives. The ultimate economy going well in favor of the side of Columbia for the time being as well. Slowly but surely, you can see them getting themselves back into the series as UCF, they start to falter on the defensive side.
It seems like they were opting to play more off defense setups, but see if they try to go into some more aggressive plays. Rudy playing some sort of retake setup towards the A bomb site. Operator towards mid. See if they play the numbers game correctly on this round. How is still staying towards mid.
Ooh, we'll finally find one there onto Germsy. Putting up the kills here at least. But nonetheless, you can still see how patient Columbia are playing, knowing that there's that operator you have to worry about pushing into. Predzu made a lot of ground up through mid here, but still, what can you do with the ground that you've maintained? Door actually going to get closed by the defenders. They don't normally see, but just sort of sequestering him out, leaving him alone up mid. And Power's holding a new angle now. Be careful there. Power going to shut down Predzu once again as Carnage tries to strike in retaliation, but numbers not going in favor of Columbia now as UCF trying to crunch down onto the Cougars.
Seems like Truth extended into Garden. Dawn, once again, though, saving his team on the take. Honestly, Adam, the game of the Jet Op is so impactful on Ascent, especially when they get a pick towards mid. Because not only do you have the number advantage at that point, but you also have the advantage of the enemy not knowing if you're going to reposition, if you're going to keep holding that mid angle, and now have to use more utility to try to reclaim other space. Honestly, don't know if Colombia is taking the necessary risks towards taking map control against this sort of setup.
I think a major thing to keep in mind as well is the Jet Op and everything. The fact that Pau has been able to save it for multiple rounds just means that it's been a threat. And a lot of the times, at least in my opinion, I think that sometimes the Op can find value just by existing in the game, because you can't just free peek through everything. You have to be mindful of where that Op is, and Pau just backing off now, picking a different angle. I read this one wrong. Pretzu's elbow was popping out there. Jet's got the flared elbows when she got the knives out, and just barely enough of a visual indicator to keep Scotty away. And now Scotty gonna pop their own null command. Both of them getting thrown down onto this B site, but still no pushes coming through from Colombia. They're so patient.
And both teams opting to use the null command, but I don't think UCF believes Columbia College. They're calling their bluff right now, and unfortunately, it's not correct. But they did spot out 4. See if Scotty's fragment, he does not take care of that good. He will be stuck on site, but Baniper and Powell get to clean up.
Yeah, looking over the top, Powell just found everyone there. Everyone ends up just crunching down once again onto the site in a 5v4 situation. Colombia aren't able to convert as UCF starting to pick up the paces once again, showing us how they got to this point, how they were able to beat a lot of these teams, and showing that, hey, Colombia, you may have taken down Northwood on a map, but we are still going to hold the line as well, they were seeded second in this tournament. They want to make sure that they still get a good result out of all of this.
Yeah, honestly, very interesting round, how that divulged down. Even the missed fragment grenade out of Scotty still ended up in Pau and Sniper coming through. We'll see if Columbia College changes their default up a bit. Eco round, they want to get to match point. They're playing for the major right now. See how this pans out as 4 of the teammates are set towards Cat.
Oh, this could be such a good angle for Pau. He goes aggressively forward, but now has to find a way out of this one. 33 HP, the shorty comes out. It won't be enough, but look at this. Everyone crunches back in, finds the angles, but Colombia sort of making this work. 10 HP on Carnage is now stuck in this corner. Scotty knows exactly where they are. Not even playing Cypher and can still do that somehow. Spike does go down from Calvin, but now in a 1v2. Be incredibly careful here for Columbia College's smokes player. Scotty holding down the line, ends up finding it in their favor. Incredible stuff coming through from UCF to hold down that aggression, and now onto map point they go.
That was incredible from Pau. I don't know how he threaded the needle in between all 3 of those players. Just super unlucky, but I actually didn't even notice that Calvin was just walking up onto the bomb site and opting to plant the bomb instead of helping his teammate. Oh, there's a bit of a disconnect for Columbia College. We will see a timeout going through. I wonder if they do have some sort of protocol in place for playing against an operator. Is single-handedly shutting down most of their attack right now?
I think that's what is really important as well, is you need to have protocols set up for these sort of things. You have to be ready for any angle of approach with that operator. And yet it just seems as if each and every time Pau is getting so much value out of it. Looking at the buy once again, Pau had more than enough credits to get another operator in kind. I think Scotty picked it up as well and was just able to pass it around. The buy that's going to come through from the side of Colombia, I think they can all get rifles. There's going to be some members on light shield, some members with no util as well. But if that's the angle that you want to go for, it's sort of your Hail Mary at this point, because you are on map point. You don't want to give this one up. And while this was UCF's map pick at the very least, and you're going to Fracture next, or you beat Northwood on it, you still want to make sure you're getting off onto the right foot here. And it seems as if there's still a little bit of work to do for the side of Columbia College as we get back in after that timeout. We'll see what sort of strats they've drawn up for themselves. Thus far, it's a 5-man stack towards B, looking to hit that site with a full force.
I think they got the read the other round that UCF's B hold is very weak. So they did choose the right bomb site, seeing as the Sentinel and the Operator was stacked towards a bomb site for UCF. Fast, explosive play coming out. See if they have a set execute going in.
Seems as
Sniper all alone on site.
Yeah, Sniper just left alone, and actually the Omen ult canceled out. Sniper gonna try and hold it, finds two! Somehow, some way, finds so much value there. And now in a 3v4 situation, it is all down to these three last members for the side of Columbia to hold the line. Germzy gonna be able to find two, finds three. That's one way to turn the numbers back in your advantage. And now Power with the Operator might just be looking to save this one out once again, looking for some exit frags if possible. Is spotted out. Yeah, Power is just gonna head for the hills. Doesn't want anything to do with it. Columbia, great timeout. They find the strats that work. Hold the line. Power actually in trouble. Oh man.
Once again, he threads the needle in between, not finding the collat. Honestly, that was the round of the Sovas there. Germzy, on UCF side, the Sniper got two against the 1v4 hit. Honestly, you can't ask for more out of that. And then Germzy single-handedly holding down the triple flank. Just very well. We'll see if that sort of lights the flame under Columbia to try to make this comeback, push all the way through regulation and get into overtime.
Still going to be quite the task to get them over the hump in a way. But if you look at the economy from UCF, it's starting to get a little bit weaker. They might be able to piece together another buy if they are to fall this round. But I think that would just be an angle to save and give over that 11th round, basically force it into a winner take either match or overtime situation. Power forward here. Predsu able to get onto that site quickly. Predsu finding two already. Columbia, this timeout seems to have just rejuvenated them a little bit. And this is the Columbia that we saw yesterday. This is the style of play that they were playing. Just aggressive, going pedal to the metal, and finding the kills necessary.
Scotty now turning into 3v4 retake. Jump's not alone. He gets another one in hell. But Germzy and Carnage do clean that up. 10-12 now on the map. I don't know if you caught that, Adam, but UCF opted to go for an optic style play on A Heaven where Powell was taking contacts on the same angle that Dawn was playing, with the hopes of Dawn being able to swing after Powell had already been cleared off that angle and getting one, but I think Predsu was aware of it.
Yeah, Predsu sort of picked the pieces up as well in the last couple of rounds, really coming alive and being that entry that you need. Looking at the buy now, it's a little bit fragmented here. It's mostly a save. You see that one-shot Guardian coming through from Power, who, you know, instead of hitting the body, they just got to hit the head this time around. It's not easy, right? But nonetheless, it seems as if Columbia going to show presence towards B site, now immediately go towards that A. Dawn, holding this close angle, has that Judge, will not get scanned out, and now this is dangerous. Do you push in to the Judge here? Dawn looking to lay down the law, finds one onto Predsu, now has to back off, change up the angle, still holding ground.
It's very interesting how deeper into regulation, never mind, scratch that. I thought Scotty catches one in mid is a 5v3 situation. Dude, I think they might have a clue that all three members are towards the A bomb site. Scotty might have gotten that timing correct. Honestly, very interesting how deeper into regulation we go. These teams just opt to completely switch up their setups. Columbia College was very tame and controlled in their defaults. Now they've just gone full explosive, and UCF didn't even go reactive. They're just deciding it's an eco round. Let's go for the stack play.
30 seconds left.
UCF isn't even phased by that fake teleport over by Calvin.
Dawn just popping back in, will actually get punished, but Power able to find another one. Columbia now in a 1v2 situation. A 1v1. Oh my goodness, Truth is gonna have to make it happen. Scotty holding down that spike though. You have to just find a frag. Truth wasn't expecting it. Ends up being a victory for the side of UCF Knights Black on Ascent. Got a little bit testy at the end there. The fake comeback coming down after the timeout, but nonetheless, great map coming through from them as they show why they were the second seed. They're looking quite strong.
That was a very interesting game. We saw teams just evolve even in the 23 rounds that we saw here. Do want to highlight Dawn though, as on the UCF squad, making a lot of heroic plays to not only save them rounds, but ultimately the judge play that won in the game. Very good. We'll see how this translates into Fracture now.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things sort of transform as we get onto Colombia's map pick. But of course, we are going to take a short break here while we get set up for that second map. When we're back, onto Fracture we go with UCF looking to book their ticket to finals at the end of the summer. Colombia looking to strike back and at least make this one a little bit more interesting. We'll be back after this break.
Yeah, we'll see if that translates today against UCF. UCF opting to, they might do it again today, but previous in the tournament, they were going for the EG comp. I know we were talking earlier about seeing how meta changes and if the collegiate scene will reflect that a bit. I don't know if many teams, if at all any teams in collegiate have actually practiced against the Sova comp on Fracture. So we'll see if it's a new look, if Columbia College is able to either adapt to it or if it just doesn't matter, if their gameplay is just so strong that they don't even need to worry about anybody else's game, right? We'll see if they just know their game. Maybe they have like set strats on the map that are just overpowering, and then UCF isn't able to adapt. See how that goes. Very interested to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. And Fracture is also sort of an IGL's playground in a lot of ways because there's so many different strategies. You know, the map is so big. You've got different comps that you can pull through. As you mentioned, it could be the EG comp that comes through. We've seen Neon get played on this map. We've seen, Ciphers get pulled out. Hell, we've seen Gecko pulled out on this map a couple of times as well. There's so many different agents that you can play on Fracture to the point where, it's almost as if we're not surprised whenever things come out anymore. I've seen Reyna's played on Fracture before. It's like you throw anything at the wall and sometimes it just sticks, and that's what matters. But nonetheless, I'm very interested to see how they actually adapt to Fracture, specifically UCF, because they have tape on what Columbia College pulled out yesterday and when they took down Northwood. So maybe they've got a little bit more of an inkling on how they want to sort of process their half of the map.
Yeah, I think UCF is just going to be playing their game. Columbia College is also going to just be playing their game. A little bit of an inexperienced IGL over towards UCF as it's Scotty's first tournament IGLing, but Fracture eliminates some of the harder aspects of IGLing, the mid rounding where you have to take mid control and then decide what you want to do off that. Fracture doesn't have that mid control, so it's mostly having the correct reads on the extremities that they want to take, making sure that they have the set micro util and macro execute of the bomb site. So we'll see how that goes. I know they have a little bit of stuff cooked up with the Sova if they do opt to play it again today. So we'll see if they can go for the surprise factor off that. And just honestly, it might just come down to hitting shots sometimes. So
yeah, I think that's the main thing that we have to keep our eyes on, is that not only do Columbia have a good Fracture from what we saw yesterday, but now they're also like backs up against the wall. Maybe that extra little bit of pressure against them will get them to wake up a little bit more. It'll get them to execute at that highest level. And I'm curious to see if that comes to fruition or not. We're still a couple of minutes out from this map, I believe, just waiting on a couple more members to get back into the lobby. But overall, it's been very exciting seeing the teams that just over the whole tournament, I want to say, seeing some of these teams pop up and also being able to feature them on the stream, just getting to get collegiate Valorant in the summer, which is oftentimes, specifically when I worked a lot more in league, it didn't happen over the summer. Teams were just like, oh, I'm taking the summer off, see you back in January or whatever. It's great to get the opportunity to see some of these teams pop up because it gives us an idea of what to expect come the fall. Yes, there may be teams trialing players, but hey, some of these names that we see on the screen right now or in these games, we might get to see a little bit more of them as time progresses, specifically once we get into CVAL season as well. Nightmare, who's sort of your one player out of these two teams, I want to say? Who's sort of been that player that surprised you the most?
honestly, I think Truth's KO last map was very, very good. He was just a good foundation for both teams, or for his team, and not only on defense how he was holding sites and the utility use, but also on attack the way he helped. Uh, I believe Predsu go in on the entries. So we'll see if he keeps that up for this map.
Man, it seems as if we are getting into agent select here. All right.
Honestly, very excited to see once again how UCF is going to use the EG comp maybe pulling out some of their strategies. I know the main gimmick of the comp is comboing the breach flashes with the Sova recon darts to almost guarantee a ping of the dart. But will it be? I don't know if it'll be counteracted by the double flashes over by Colombia. Honestly, just very frustrating playing against the double flashes.
It can be quite oppressive to go up against all those flashes in your face and just sort of having to deal with breach sky, the post plant that can come down from a brimstone and a raise. There's a lot of different ways that these comps can sort of evolve for each other. And I mean, the major thing that I'm interested in is just the fact that once these teams get the plant down, it is so hard to get back on the spike without killing everyone else.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a game of quick retakes, making sure that flanks come through on the defense to stop people from just sitting back in their spawn looking at the sky with their lineups. But we already saw a little bit of that from Colombia last match on Ascent. Going for the quick retakes on Ascent, they fast-flooded a lot, especially with a flash and dash coming out with Predsu and Truth. We'll see if they keep that up on this map. Looks like they are opting to go for the quick B main play.
You can see where those pings are going down as well. Everyone's sort of just planning out their angle of attack, how they want to proceed with this one. But you mentioned Colombia just looking to crunch down very aggressively. Look at all these members coming down. The dart going to get shot through, though. May just give it away a little bit, but Scotty might be the first point of contact. Going to be in a little bit of trouble. Paint shells coming out as well. Scotty just running for the hills, trying to meet up with the rest of the team as everyone is just going to get crunched in through A main here.
And now we're seeing a classic 4-1 split. Carnage gets 2 on the bomb site. 5v2 coming down. Viper gets 1 on the UCF side, making it into a 4v2. All he has is an aftershock. We'll see if he can get them in A main. I think he knows that the majority are towards A main. Only clutch it out though.
That doesn't seem to matter at the end of the day. Germzy just able to shut everything down, and Colombia just playing aggressively, playing as we saw them yesterday on that defensive side, just playing, going for it. You know, screw the fact that we're on defense. We're going to play offense. We're just going to push forward. We're going to make it happen. Sometimes that's what happens on Fracture. The side sort of gets swapped a little bit here where you just end up flanking around, and then the flankers flank each other, and, you know, I don't know how many levels of flank you can get to before, you know, it just ends up being a mess and everyone's just in a conga line running around.
Yeah, my favorite comm on Fracture is, I don't know if you've ever played Call of Duty, but when you play Domination, you quote-unquote flip the map. Fracture's map gets flipped quite a lot with the double, triple flanks coming through, so we'll see if Colombia will continue to go for those triple flank pushes. Honestly, last map, when they did get that tactical timeout, they did flip a switch and how aggressive they want to go in their plays. But they are taking it calm this round, just doing an up-down setup in arcade. Classic Sky and Killjoy towards A, gathering info.
You can see that clump of members from the side of UCF just sort of playing off of each other, just trying to trade each other out, knowing full well that you're just trying to do any sort of damage to their bonus. Nonetheless, with 3 members here slowly marching forward, finally the sound cube going to get given up on that alt orb. As you mentioned, that Sky Killjoy just sort of playing back-to-back, trying to cover every single angle. Power just sort of baits it out. Nice little satchel just to dissuade any sort of movement.
Very interesting with the Sova on the side of UCF being the lurk, but he did get caught out by Predsu. We'll see if they'll expect Rudy lurking on the north side towards arcade. Execute coming in from UCF.
Seems as if it doesn't matter about that flank because they're just taking it from the front here. Rudy going to be able to find one. Going in with that satchel is Powa able to answer one onto Calvin. Is a little bit of damage being dealt now. Powa in a world of hurt, looking the wrong way. Predsu catches him from behind. 3K for Columbia College's raise. That's now getting to the rifle rounds, and this is where UCF need to sort of tighten things up a little bit more. Columbia last time around when they played this, they were just devastating to deal with at every single point of the game.
It seems like they do feel a little bit more comfortable, both with the chemistry and their agent selection as well in this map. Playing very well. Even after like the first round, we saw Germzy just go for a quick flash that allowed Carnage to get 2 on the A-bomb site. See if this continues now. It is going to be an arcade versus arcade setup.
Pushing forward quickly. Dawn and Sniper are going to be able to answer in kind. Very quick picks onto the side of Columbia. Rudy going to pick up Truth as well. Germzy is going to be trying to take this one from the front. Not going to be able to answer as well. And now it is all down to Carnage with the Spectre. The setup all on the wrong site. What can Carnage do? Apparently, just get taken down. Rudy just finds the 1v1. It's a great round coming through from UCF.
While it's coming through, it's honestly the best thing that could happen in a bonus round, right? Playing against that anti-eco, denying them ult orbs, denying them kills, not allowing them to take any rifles away from you. See if that ult economy will start to build up a bit for UCF and if they prioritize that. Seeing as they do have a bit more impactful ults trading Sova versus Sky. So we'll being able to kill Carnage's ult when the lockdown goes down. Scotty's still opting to lurk towards B main.
Just sort of a fake dart. Throwing out some information. Trying to just give any sort of sound cues, which is quite interesting. At the very least, it's locking down 2 other members on the site, but maybe this is the end point for them as well. Rudy on a lurk. Ooh, the timing on Predsu turning was just a little off there. Rudy finds extra little bit and just gets out. Says, hey, got my one. And now the call seems to be towards this B side as everyone is moving over. Truth has to back off the angle, but still finds one. Powa able to trade it back. The Killjoy setup here will slow them down for the time being, as will that fault line. Now all 4 members who are left alive are going to try and make this happen. Try to shoot the dart as Carnage gets shut down. And now 4v2 retakes the situation for Columbia. This is going to be a tough one to answer.
1 enemy remaining.
4v1 situation now. Germzy, we'll see if he tries to take guns away, if he just goes for the save. Honestly, UCF played that really well. Unluckily, Predsu got timing by Rudy over towards Dish, but they are going for more of a passive setup and trying to figure out if Columbia College is going to keep playing that Killjoy Sky setup with the fighters over towards the other bomb site.
Yeah, you can see them just backing all the way off as much as possible. Germzy just wants to hold that gun. Knows full well that the economy's not going to be in great shape for next round. Rudy looking for it. Will end up giving up their life for it, but hey, it's another ult orb that you can pick up. It's not the worst case scenario if you're Rudy. You've got enough to buy back up once again. And hey, now you've got the lockdown online.
Lockdown online, one off the orbital strike, breach ult online. Honestly, a very scary round for Columbia. They are on sheriffs, but if UCF really wants to, they can decimate their economy on this round. And they might trade the ultimate economy for it, but hey, if I'm getting my players up to 9K credits, then I think it's worth it. See if they go for that this round.
Yeah, you can see Scotty sitting on a significant amount of money as well. 5.7 in the inventory. Pow and Dawn have a couple more buys as well, and Columbia do not have a buy. That is a Sheriff on Predsu who will try and find any value that they can. Once again, Sheriff Demons in Collegiate are aplenty. So many of them. Incredible stuff that comes through from them. Predsu, though, gets a little bit of info, takes a shot in the back, and now forced all the way back out. Paint shells going both ways. Trying to just spray anything down. Predsu, though, in the smoke, is left unchecked for the time being. Predsu will find their one, but look at this. It's just getting messy here. Even against the pistols, the classics, it's still challenging to deal with. Never mind, Scotty just going to clean everything up. And once again, 4v2. I've called that so many times in this series. It always seems as if that's how it works. 3 kills one way, 1 the opposite. And the team that gets that 4 is just able to hold down the line.
1 enemy remaining.
Honestly, I saw the vision there with Predsu threading the needle. He's basically Neo in the Matrix there between all the util and bullets. I saw the vision where he gets 2 or more there. But hey, he got his one, he got his ult orb. 4 players on the UCF side survive, and once again, they build up ultimate economy. They build up regular economy. They're sitting pretty right now on attack side.
But nonetheless, as you're mentioning, that economy is doing really well. Dawn now, Scotty, they're going to max out next round regardless. Scotty's going to help the homies out. Good IGL, just being like, hey, you know what? My credits? No, the team's credits. That's what it's all about. Sharing is caring. Nonetheless, UCF starting to get back in the driver's seat. And this is what we wanted to see after the first couple of rounds, where Colombia just felt as if they had the pacing right. They had that tempo advantage. Now it's UCF sort of calling the shots. And look at how many members are just sitting in spawn. They're just chilling. And it's just Scotty trying to scope out anything that they can, trying to see how much utility can burn. And thus far, it's not a whole lot from the side of Colombia. They're just willing to hold their angles. As now UCF start to creep up towards A. So slow, so methodical. They're willing to play this sort of slower style for themselves.
It's actually kind of comedic. I asked Scotty before the match, seeing his fracture was selected, I asked him, you know, if they had anything down for Sova or what their game plan was. And he just said to me, honestly, I'd just be shooting the dart. And it's been working. He's been single-handedly taking B main control, holding at least 2 players towards the B bomb site. This round holding all 3 of the fighters. I know it is a eco round. Actually, never mind. They do have rifles, my bad, but...
Yeah, Scotty's doing more than just shooting the dart. He's shooting the gun as well. That's 2 picked up on the solo push, it felt like, from the Scotty. Will get shut down eventually by Carnage. Now, in a little bit of a crunch here is Rudy. Will be able to trade one back, but Truth now starting to find lots of value here. Powa gonna be in this 1v2. Truth has no chance. Rocket is simply a formality to toss out to the heavens. Getting close to Canada Day, at least for me. So, you know, firing off the rockets early, getting that firework practice in. Good stuff coming through as UCF find a 4th.
Yeah, honestly, even in a 2v1 situation, I think that rocket has more impact than some players ever see it have. So, not a bad idea for UCF to at least throw one of their ultimates out so they can focus the orbs towards that. They still have 4 ultimates over on the side of UCF. And they are, for once, changing the default setup a bit. They might go for an explosive, not as explosive as that satchel, but might just be doing a slow default over towards arcade.
Yeah, an interesting little satchel there from Powa, as I believe we are in radio mode right now. Nonetheless, Dawn taking a whole bunch of util thrown his way. Oh my goodness, everything is getting thrown both ways. Very challenging to keep pace, but somehow UCF found their way on the site. They found the plant, and yeah, it's a 3v3. Is Bniper now just pushing forward on this breach, looking for any sort of kills that they can. I have no idea what just happened in main.
It's crazy. One of the most close engagements of this game has been on an eco round against a team that has all ultimates. Let's see if Columbia College has started to hit that switch a little bit earlier than they did on Ascent last game.
Thunder going to be popped out as well. Bniper needs to try and find this value. Great little peek from Powa as well. Finds 2. That's just a paint shells. Bniper going to be able to clear that one out as well. We should be in good shape moving forward as 5th round for UCF. They continue to find round wins for themselves. Yes, it was against an eco. Yes, the beginning looked a little bit sketchy, but the clutch factor coming through from Powa and Bniper to hold down the line.
Honestly, a great play out of Columbia. I do want to see them get a little bit more aggressive, go for those plays a little more. I would like to see Sky over towards the fighter side. It was UCF opts to go for that 4-1 a lot, but this round it is just a 5-man hit over towards arcade, and the push-pull is just coming across.
Yeah, Hunter's Fury going to come through as well. Scotty doing a little bit more damage to his own team than to the enemy team there, unfortunately, as Powa takes one on the chin. But now, look at the trade. Scotty finding another one. Germsy and Calvin going to be holding down sight. And now you're in trouble. That spike is way onto sight here. Calvin with 30 HP is really going to be the first point of contact. But even still, can you find another one for yourself, Calvin? Oh, the peak just a little bit too weak there. Now, Bniper, rough situation.
Last player standing.
Rudy going to get shut down as well. Now it's a 3v1. 29 HP on Bniper. You just got to try and find what you can here as Columbia finally answering the beck and call.
Yeah, he has to dodge the bullets and the aftershock, but unfortunately on 1 HP does not clutch it out. Columbia College seeing like they're coming back to life a little bit, opting to use those ults. A little trigger happy on them, but a round's around, and they need to build some momentum now if they want to take down UCF on this map.
And at least they're cycling these ultimates out. You know, Truth is going to have the Seekers back up very shortly. Germsy and Calvin still have them available. Simply the Carnage ultimate might have been a little bit aggressive, still ended up doing the job that it needed to. Of course, on that flip side, Rudy, Dawn both have their ultimates available. Could look to execute, as now everyone's going towards Dish. They're looking to try and get some TV. Satellite TV is way out of vogue here, but Germsy is going to go for the Rolling Thunder. Might be caught out on an angle, though. Great peek from Beniper to shut it down.
Beniper saving his team there, just playing that engagement correctly.
Oh!
Spike
Wow.
down A.
Who's
Play
blind?
from Calvin.
You should run.
Now, calling over towards this A site. This could be a bait. They're just tossing down the lockdown. Force a couple of rotations. Oh, Truth. Truth is right next to the turret. They have no clue.
He recalls the turret. I don't think they have an idea here. We'll see if Carnage will overextend a bit. He does go for the kill, gets the 2v2.
Turn out.
UCF having a main control. I think they might have some sort of idea that drop is being contested a bit by Columbia College.
They have no idea where Scotty is. This entire time, Scotty has sort of been left out of the plays there. Onto site goes the dog. Powa is spotted out. They know full well the raises, but where is that Sova? Believe you have an idea of where Scotty is now. Great guiding light, gonna find it. Truth finds one. The dart goes down. Scotty, do you have lineups? Do you have this available to you? Not gonna have enough damage onto Carnage. He got it to spray down, and Scotty clutches it out. The IGL can shoot back still. 6th round for UCF. Incredible stuff coming through from the Sova.
Wow, what a clutch from Scotty. He really is shooting those darts. Getting that down in a 1v2. I think he got Carnage down to 2 HP with those shocks. Playing that 1v2 very well. Honestly, even Powa baiting very well for Scotty over towards A main. They didn't know if he was lurking again, as he does a lot, but we'll see now. Columbia on sort of a broken buy. Nothing but Seekers and Orbital Strike.
Yeah, it's a force. That's what it just, whoever can buy buys, and whoever doesn't. I think they're feeling a little bit more desperation here, despite them taking down Northwood on this map. UCF have come back, and they've come back full force. In a lot of ways, maybe disappointed by the fact they didn't beat CSelf yesterday. Maybe feeling a little bit of that exhaustion after playing already a best of 3 that day. But now they're fighting it back in kind. Truth, he's taking so much damage, taken down. Rudy takes down Carnage as well. 5v3. How many times have we said this, where UCF just take that advantage and they continue to push it forward? Calvin, no chance that you're able to survive that one as it gets taken down as well.
Honestly, very good executes coming out of UCF here. I believe they've fully read Columbia College's game plan. They know that one site's going to be a little weaker with the Killjoy and Sky. They know that the other site's going to have the fighters. And Columbia College isn't really changing things up.
Too late.
Germsy changing things up with that one tap. See if he can take more down on his way out.
Oh, Germsy. Hey, Collegiate Sheriffs, what were we saying? You know, they sometimes just do a little bit more than you expect, and that's 2 already picked up. Germsy looking to find a 3rd one. Look at these ecos. It's 4 picked up for Germsy. They actually get everyone off of the board. The spike will still detonate, but hey, Germsy, it's a hell of a round for you right there.
Honestly, if anything, that's a little bit of a boost now towards Columbia College. They're down by 4 rounds, but they can make this a 5-7 half easily. They've taken down a bit of their economy. I don't know if it truly will matter towards the end, but if anything, they have a little bit more kills under their belt. Germsy might have a little more confidence. See if they change up the plays a little bit, and they are. They are putting the double flashes over with the raise. Seeing if they can aggressively take map control now. Opting to leave Killjoy by herself. I really like this out of Columbia College.
Yeah, and I think, Killjoy is one of those agents when she was as strong as she was. It was just like, you leave her on one side, you can stack the rest of the map on the opposite side. So long as the Killjoy plays safe, she'll be able to get you enough info to hold the line. Seems as if they're just going back to that sort of tried and true strategy. Predzu, though, might be peeking into multiple. Nice little headshot there onto Powa. Gets out with the satchel. Takes another angle, and now numbers advantage for Columbia. We haven't said that very often. But hey, when they did have those numbers advantages on Ascent, even in the first couple of rounds, they were able to make it work.
Yeah, Columbia, they used the Sky Flash to get info. They used it again to get info. They know there's nothing towards A main. I wonder if they will over-rotate over to B main, correctly read this hit. Scotty disconnected from the rest of the team. Doesn't clear Carnage out. Carnage gets 2 with the Spectre.
Enemy remaining.
Yeah, you know, Spectre,
Down B.
still a pretty good gun. 1,600 credits to get you a couple of kills. Not bad. It's even going to be the upgrade from Carnage. Talked about that numbers advantage. Hey, you got a pretty good numbers advantage if you end the round flawless. It's going to be Columbia College getting that confidence from the previous round off of the Collegiate Sheriff, 4K from Jersey, now leading into a flawless round. Looking at the buys coming down from the opposite side, this is the first time that we've really seen sort of it's an okay buy, we'll say, coming through from UCF. They've got a couple Bulldogs. It's okay. It's functional.
I mean, not bad. We have Showstopper is online. Rolling Thunder will be online after 1 ult orb, and they might even go for an orb default to get Scotty his ults over on Sova. Columbia College is going for a 4-1 setup. I think they have the correct read now on how they want to play this game.
Power jumping forward aggressively, looking to try and change the pacing once again. But how many members are going to rotate over? Look at this. 3 members from Columbia College were on their way over. Ends up being Calvin, who turns back around. But now, information given by the Guiding Light. 4 members towards this A main. Once again, Rudy on this lurk. Rudy's been just a pest. Every single time Rudy's there is just a lurking, looking for whatever they can. And hey, it's worked out quite well.
I mean, he's covering their back, so they're pretty confident. Rolling Thunder coming out. It hits nobody, but they do know that the site is somewhat clear now. Showstopper coming out of Power. Columbia College is opting to turtle up. They're a little more safe, but as they say that, Orbital Strike. Calvin does get Dawn on the Orbital Strike. Brim versus Brim. We'll see if Beniper will fight Carnage over here towards A main. Carnage does win the fight. 5v3 over. As I say, that's a 4v3 now.
Oh, man, this is getting messy on sight. Pretsu! Look at that spray control, though. Just able to go and get 2 for himself to end it off. And as you mentioned, it's almost as if I say anything, it's a caster curse. When you say something, it sort of happens. In Columbia, they get the last 2 rounds. They make it a 7-5 half. And going on to their attack side, they're going to be pretty happy with that, considering how the half started.
You can trust my bots.
Honestly, starting from behind a little bit, Columbia, I think they got that switch that they got towards the end of Ascent like a little quicker. They figured out the game plan, even without a tactical timeout. Figured out what they had to change in order to correctly counter UCF's playstyle. But UCF still came out with a 2-round lead. We'll see if they will extend that by 4 rounds after the pistol, or if the game will be tied at 7-7. Columbia, though, does have to sort of play it by ear against the Sova setups. They have no clue what they're going into or even what to expect. So we'll see if they tiptoe a bit, because they are going for a 3-1-1 setup.
Slowly inching towards this B site is Columbia with 1 member to answer it. 1.5, you know, now, okay, now it's 2. You know, they're just slowly moving over. Beniper saying, hey, something might be amiss here, and something is amiss. They are already onto site there with Pretsu. Double satchel forward. Now site completely clear. That's a free plant for the taking. Calvin gonna get that one down, and now comes a 5v5 retake. This one's gonna be interesting because everyone is coming from the same angle, except for aforementioned Rudy just lurking on the side, trying to be a pest.
We'll see how the retake goes. Columbia College have in this series won most of their post plants. We'll see if they'll change things up this round. Scotty finds Calvin there. He knows that Breach is in the smoke. Gets another one. 4v1 on the retake. It's just up to Truth with a classic and nothing but a dream. Let's see how many he could take down before the round ends.
Not bad. Got a couple at the very least, but UCF able to do a fantastic retake, and I think that all comes down to Scotty just slipping the defense, getting in behind enemy lines a little bit. And unfortunately for Calvin, he was swinging out. He's like, why can't I? Is my D button broken? I can't keep moving. Just run right into the Sova. Finds 2 for themselves, and UCF, they continue the momentum. No matter what, they're still finding ways to get advantages here, and it's putting Columbia in a little bit of a precarious situation.
Honestly, very impressive how slippery Scotty has been against the enemies, finding his way in between setups and even against post plant setups. Just doing a lot for his team. We'll see now how their setup goes on the defense. Powa and Rudy in an up-down setup. They do know that the alarm bot has been triggered on drop. Quick smoke coming in from Dawn.
Powa just gonna sort of spike those. What? He spiked them! How do you end up with that? Germsy finds 2 on the recoil. What is going on? Colombia coming through with some interesting executes here.
Spike planted.
And yet they still get the spike down. Granted, those health bars will get topped up. There's a Skye on board. The mobile ambulance going to be able to help it out. But 2v2 retake. Scotty trying to find out where they are. Finds out at least where they aren't. Germsy still in hell underneath the site there. Needs to try and find something with this Sheriff once again. Will not be able to recreate the magic truth. None the wiser. Scotty with a 3K. Looking real dicey there for a little bit, but nonetheless, UCF end up converting on the bonus.
Scotty pulling his team across, trying to get him to the finish line once again. Honestly, that was a very good indication of how Sova can be used in those retake situations. Columbia College wasn't ready. They didn't understand how many angles just got cleared by a single dart drone and then the aftershock. We're just kind of funneled into UCF's crosshairs there. We'll see if they adapt a little quicker. It's a very good execute, though, coming out of Columbia College. We finally got to see those collegiate sheriffs in an impactful way. It's going to be a B main versus B main fight here. We'll see how this goes. Sova dart not coming through, so it's just a traditional fault line and paint shells.
It's just nice and simple, as strange as it sounds for them. Powa has that collegiate sheriff we're talking about. Nice little buddy and gun setup there. Is that the Fade Nazar beat or whatever? Matches up with the Sheriff. Oh, too busy admiring the gun to realize that Germsy's just going to win out on that one. Sniper able to answer in kind onto Carnage. 4v4 situation. And at least you keep your weapons intact. You got a Judge, you got a Bulldog. It's not the best of loadouts, but hey, we've seen some of these loadouts pull it out in the past. Scotty just going to be ratting out in heaven here, looking to try and lay down the law once again.
Off your feet!
Fault line coming through. Scotty does have that Judge, though. He does not care about being stunned. 3v2 situation now. We'll see if Columbia College will hold. They sort of paused now, but Beniper did get a spam kill through.
Yeah, Dawn's got a pretty good gun for themselves now with the Vandal upgrade. Calvin in a little bit of trouble, just sort of spraying and praying. We'll be able to find it. Calvin comes through with the 3K. Well played from Columbia. Once again, the nice scoreline comes across. They just need to continue to convert on that, as even through the bonus there. It wasn't even a bonus. It was just sort of a, we buy whatever we can. UCF were able to do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, UCF did well there, but I honestly can't name a better duo than a Smokes character spamming through their own smokes with a Phantom. So Calvin did clean it up with a 3K for the round, but Hunter's Fury online on UCF. We'll see if they have some sort of setup for this, as Scotty's playing in a position that he has not played in this game yet. See if there's a dart lineup coming through.
Look at this. 4 members over towards A main, just sort of waiting for the pushes to come through. Once again, these Killjoys, both of them have the exact same idea of sitting on the opposite side, trying to get any information that they can and immediately taking that zip line across. Thus far, though, no one has gone for the bite. Powa backing off, but it's a decent amount of util burned for not a whole lot of information.
There.
Seems like both teams kind of have an idea as to what the other team is doing, but for UCF, I believe they want them to come into A main. They want them to be funneled into Powa. We'll see. He gets one here. Goes for the second. Ooh, unfortunately, he's moving as his crosshairs over the head of Calvin, but 4v4 situation. Orbital strike over on the side of Columbia College. We'll see. Scotty is setting up for a Hunter's Fury.
Will he land the tags, though? Will not land the first one. Waiting on that last shot. Not even going to get a tag, unfortunately. Calvin that's going to be able to wait those out. Got the fancy feet going. Backs right out. And now Spike is down, and all these angles are so difficult to deal with. Just got to see what UCF can do. Scotty leading the charge here. Playing Sova. Playing like a duelist almost. Just going first. Oh, Predsu.
UCF was stuck in a sticky situation, but Beniper does get one. Predsu catches one. Beniper trades out.
Scotty
Scotty with the late A main. Late A main flank, and he does get 2.
Scanning ahead.
Adam, wasn't Scotty leading the charge on the site, guys? How did he end up A main? He's just
that's
once
what
again
I'm
just
wondering.
slipping through.
He just sort of did a ring around the rosy, and I actually want to give a really interesting shout out to Dawn here. Most of the time, you're like, oh man, someone's 3 and 11. What are they doing? He has 18 assists. That's incredible stuff. Just being a part of so many of these engagements here. Almost has like the mirrored score to Scotty. This is like what happens when you play League and you've got your support who's just there, healing you every single kill. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna get all the assists on your kills, and that's basically what's happening. Scotty and Dawn, despite them being on opposite ends of the leaderboard, have done well to play together. Sometimes it just happens that you end up dying a little bit more than you want.
Honestly, I'm seeing it more like Scotty and Power, LeBron and D Wade, while Don is just being the anchor of being Chris Bosch. So honestly, if it works, it works.
Helping out. It's still good to see everyone contributing here, and I think that's the major thing. Everyone has sort of had their moments for the side of both of these teams in a lot of ways, but UCF have just been on the winning end of a lot more of those. Besides, Don was the one who was carrying last game, so he's allowed to have a little bit of a break this time around. He's letting the other people get their stats up.
He's passing the rock a bit. Love to see it. What a team player. We'll see now. Columbia College is stacked towards the B bomb site. They have Seekers, which get better as the round goes on, to be honest. We'll see. If they do pop Seekers now, they will know that there are at least 3 players towards A.
Yeah, Powa is spotted out at least with the Trailblazer. The dog going to be able to do its work, sniffing out the prey.
I've got your trail.
Immediately they're going to turn tail. The Seekers now going to be going forward onto this B site. Ooh, one of them is pushed forward here, so they're not 100% sure if there's a second member in tow. Molly is going to be slowing everyone up here, but Pretsu onto site, clearing out as much space as possible. Everyone is now over towards this site. Rolling Thunder is available if they so desire. Will not pop it for that plant, but Calvin now living on a sliver of health.
Truth picks one. Tawa gets the close generator angle, and he gets the guy in A main. B main, sorry. Paint shells over towards tower. They are tapping bomb. I have some sort of idea that the last person should be towards tower, and they do secure the round. Rudy with 3. Great retake coming out of UCF. And I don't know if you saw Adam, but earlier in the round, Scotty set up very well for that retake as he made pressure towards the north side of the map, taking care of Columbia College's Killjoy turret, making some sort of pressure, and it brought the post plant setup for Columbia College to have an up-down towards arcade. Honestly, just the little things coming out of UCF that honestly very impressive and very hard to deal with against Columbia College.
Yeah, and now you're starting to dig deep into the inventory here. Look at the buy coming through from Columbia. If they lose this round, it is curtains at that point. They're not going to be in good shape to buy back up. Granted, loss bonus going to be fully stacked. So at the very least, instead of it being Sheriffs and Stingers, maybe get a Bulldog in there, maybe get a Guardian in there, or you're going for Vandal, no shields. It's still not the best case situation after such a strong performance against Northwood. It's almost a little disappointing to see them come out a little bit more flat against UCF, or potentially it's just the opposite where UCF are just coming through, bringing their A game. Rudy finally just going to get shut down on one of these off angles. Pretsu looking for it, will be able to land it. Around the corner though is Dawn. Dawn going to get shut down. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Every time I say something about these teams, the opposite happens as Columbia, incredible execute, and now down to Scotty.
Honestly, it's interesting. I don't want to completely shut Scotty out for this round. He's in a 1v4 situation, but we have seen him win those. But Carnage just aware of the dish play. A good ult coming in from Pretsu there, just speeding up, taking control. I think that's just what Columbia College needs to do. They need to hit W key no matter what, not be scared of anything. Who cares if a dart's pinging through if you're just shooting at them. Just need to find that fire that they had towards the end of the last half and reignite the flame a little bit.
Yeah, at least for Columbia here. For UCF on the flip side, now they're on a save round. They've got to get a little bit more crafty with how they want to defend their side of the map. It's interesting. I'm pretty sure at this point, anytime that any of the teams that we've sort of covered, or I've covered at least, they're just always rooting for me to cheer against them so that the opposite happens. Because it's been like 3 times now where I've said something and the exact opposite happens. That's just they're watching, they're listening. They're like, I'm gonna prove this guy wrong. Let's do it that way. But the tunnel play now coming down. 3 members underneath, just looking for any sort of aggression. And UCF, ding dong, no one's home. It's only Scotty sort of trying to figure out where they are. And now 4 in tunnel. They're just hanging out.
I honestly have zero clue as to what Columbia College
Scotty.
is. Scotty does just walk up. He does not care. Attacking Killjoy used.
Right here.
See, Scotty is just gonna try to go for a spam kill here with 3 seconds left on the clock before the lockdown gets one, and that's when he tosses the gun away. Might even live going into a 5v3 post plant. Don opts to use the orbital strike.
Scotty just really saving this round. Carnage gonna be pushing forward though. Powa able to find another one off of a picked up gun. Oh my goodness, Carnage, despite being stunned, is able to find it. Sniper, last one left alive. They're even going to invest the Seekers for this one. They are so desperate for this round that they will use everything because the damage has still been done from UCF on a save round. 3 members out. Sniper might just be trying for exit. Finds Truth. And now, oh my goodness! Sniper makes it happen! And the Thrifty is going to come down for UCF. And Columbia, they are... Oh, they're distraught after that one.
I'm honestly sort of surprised to see Columbia go for that slow approach into a contact play, into a Killjoy ult. I don't know if there's a bit of a disconnect in between what they're trying to call and what they really want to do, but just need to get on the same page. I believe they can still close this game out or get it to overtime at least. But they're fighting an uphill battle now as they have to play against the lockdown, play against the Hunter's Fury. They're 2 off of the Rolling Thunder on the UCF side. And all they're really close to on the Columbia College side is 1 off Orbital Strike. Don't know if it'll be enough though.
Yeah, there's quite the mountain to climb for Columbia. But you'll never count them out until the game is over. UCF, though, have played excellent Valorant thus far. Scotty's first time IGLing for this. He's looking pretty good as well. He's shooting back as well. This isn't your IGL who just sits there and calls and goes like, double negative. He's doing well. Shooting the gun back. He's shooting the dart. He's doing everything that you say he was going to do.
Columbia does have full B site control. They did get the orbital strike. Powa slipped through under the turret. Ooh, Don gets one.
Don's able to get one in kind. Germsy going to turn that one back around. Powa now in a little bit of a spicy situation, just going to get out. Lockdown is answered with that orbital strike. At least it's a tool taken off the board. Sniper going to be able to find one in return as well. 4v3, but Pretsu is all scanned out there. 4v2, 4v1. It is all down to Truth. Can Truth make it happen? Finds 2, making this a little bit more interesting. And now way deep down B main. Still a lot of time left to potentially turn this one around, but UCF just sort of holding angles now. Scotty right behind that generator. Truth has to just try and spray and pray at this point. Time is ticking now. 15 seconds left. You got to try and get that spike down if at all possible. The peak coming down onto Scotty will be able to find it. It is down to Sniper, but will hold the line. 13-7 goes Fracture as UCF have qualified for the Summer Showdown Finals in August.
Very good match out of both teams, honestly. Columbia College, I feel like they sort of had the underdog story against Northwood, but honestly, they kind of had an equal footing against UCF. Maybe it might have been the Sova coming out of Scotty that just was really hard to deal with, but honestly, just overall, a very good game, back and forth.
Awesome stuff to come through from UCF to sort of shake off a little bit of that rust that might have developed from yesterday, saying, listen, CSUF came through with their best gameplay. We didn't come through with our best. I think today, the script is flipped here. This is why they were seeded second coming into this one. Now they sort of locked themselves in for those finals in August. They're going to be going there as alongside Northwood and CSUF. So some pretty good teams getting sent through from that first qualifier, but just general thoughts on how the series played out as a whole and what you sort of take away from these two teams.
Honestly, very promising futures for both of these teams. I'm sure. I know for the UCF side, they don't practice very much. This is what Pug roster coming through, and for Columbia College, I mean, they had a very good showing against Northwood, and even now they did have very close games against UCF. Even on Fracture, it did seem a little bit more back and forth than the scoreline would indicate. But I'm honestly very excited to see how both of these teams are going to make it through for the rest of these summer tournaments, for the next qualifier and for the summer showdown at the end. But I very much see Columbia College qualifying through the next one and
Yeah,
making it all the way to the third one.
It's pretty likely there if they are going to qualify in that the second qualifier there, of course, because they've come through and they've really showed us that, hey, they're here to play. And if this is a newer roster, if this is a trial roster for them, you've got some really good parts building off of that. You can potentially carry that momentum over for the next tournament in 2 weeks. And once again, we'll have to see how they end up playing it out. But of course, that wraps us up for this consolation finals. We will have a new set of casters coming at you in about 45 minutes for our grand finals, where Northwood Kings of Collegiate take on CSUF Orange, the upstarts from the West. Be about 45 minutes from now, as you mentioned. Jobin and Vincent will be bringing that to you. So from myself and Nightmare, thank you so much for joining us for this one. We'll have the stream back up in a little bit.